You have to come from a place of deep authenticity. You have to be bold enough to reveal yourself in ways that really tell people who you are. And if you will share that consistently with people, if you have a little bit more of a, this is the truth zone, right? Some people call it the stomach, the gut. Some people call it my solar plexus. Some people say, no, it's my heart intelligence. For me, it's the heart. If I'm willing to share that, I can get where I want to go much more quickly.
So I'm interested then, when you landed like the mega hits like Pretty Woman, who were you being that landed that job and those relationships? Was that any different?
Yeah, absolutely. I didn't start with Pretty Woman. I didn't start with any of the titles you might know. I've made a number of films. Some of them well received, some of them, let's just call them clunkers, right?
Okay, sure.
Films my family has yet to see. And that's okay, because I'm a big believer that failure is the best part of success. They're siblings, right? Separated at birth. But they dance beautifully together, and they're part of each other, and without one you can't have the other.
Thank you.
We're raised in a society that's about weights and standards and measures, and so you adjudicate yourself and others. And I think that's energy poorly spent. The truth is, every time I failed, I've had amazing lessons, personally and professionally. And gosh, you know what? Nothing bad happened. It was my love of writers and writing that made me want to come to Los Angeles, to the film business. And I arrived realizing, whoops, I don't know a single person. I don't know anything about the film business.
Wow.
And it only just occurred to me after I'd arrived. I found this place, and my neighbor, Gary Lieberthal, wonderful guy, and he was running Norman Lear's empire and became the chairman and CEO of Columbia Pictures Television.
Wow.
And he took a liking, and he said, I'm going to introduce you to every studio head, but in business and legal affairs. So I would go on these, here I am in my heavy San Francisco, lawyer suits, in my unair-conditioned car, on freeways, getting lost, trying to find these studios. And I had wonderful meetings, and I had nothing in common with these people. I didn't understand the language they were speaking. So my solution was I joined an outdoor health club. And I played tennis 3 hours a day and paddle tennis 3 hours a day and swam in between. And everybody I met, I'd say, what do you do? And that's how I started. What do you do? And of course, a great many of the people were in television, film, some facet of entertainment.
So at this point, you still didn't know you wanted to be a movie producer. You were just learning what people did. Where do I fit in?
I wanted to just get a sense of the landscape. What are the job titles? What are the possibilities? I was so green, it would have been arrogant or presumptuous for me to say I want to be a movie producer. I had no idea. Naive, stubborn, what have you. Thank God we don't know how much we don't know. We just go forward. But someone one day said, there's this other thing called a manager, personal manager. And at the time, this was the early 80s, managers were representatives of actors, not writers, not directors, actors. I had no interest in representing actors. I didn't resonate with that. I loved writers. What do you think about me doing it for writers? They said, well, no, they don't. I said, well, yes. First of all, I assembled a stable of clients, and I came to quickly recognize that I had a list of the most unemployable writers in Los Angeles. But that was okay. I had a reason to go in the morning and get on the phones and start calling people. And I just cold called everybody. I didn't care who it was. I called agents. I called studio executives. I called production companies. I called anybody I could get on the phone. I just spent several years creating relationships. Having now read a couple of thousand screenplays and started to learn the art of storytelling and also deal memos and how to put them together. And now I had, after a couple of years going to breakfast, lunch, and dinner and meetings in between and phone calls nonstop, I suddenly had a community of peers. I had relationships. I had friendships, business friendships that were effective. It's kind of like the old thing. In law school, they teach you, tell the jury what you're going to tell them, tell it to them, and then tell them what you told them. By the third time, they believe you. It's the same. This is the same thing. We're all wired the same way. The first time you meet someone, and this is true on the web, the first time it's like, oh. The second time it's like, oh, that's Alana's familiar. By the third time, you have this sense of friendship. And it's okay. It's safe. Now I trust. It's okay if I want to do business with you, hire you, whatever it might be. I made a point of being in front of people.
So are you saying that you think the number one secret in Hollywood is relationships? Is that what it's coming down to?
Not just in Hollywood.
Yeah, everywhere.
Life.
Life.
Yes.
Yeah. Like who in the industry do you know in your relationships and maybe your mentorships that really taught that or is really promoting that authenticity?
Well, I'll tell you one fellow that, you know, if you're serious about the business of film,
Yeah.
then there's a fellow that you all need to know. You need to know Joel.
Who's Joel?